all right. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Hot Seat Automotive Podcast. It's your buddy CJ here. We're talking about all things automotive, the car guy hobby, gearhead stuff, cars. This is the place to be on a Saturday night. And I'll tell you what, your buddy CJ's got Saturday night fever. Saturday night fever tonight, folks. And it's for cars. And it's for you. And I'm glad you're here. Give me a like and subscribe. I love you guys. Leave me some comments. Let's get into this. Tonight's episode, it's all about car guys buying cars. You got a $15,000 budget. In that $10,000 to $15,000 sweet spot of budget as a car guy or a car girl, and you got to buy something fun. Now and that's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to give you CJ's list. Tonight, you're going to walk out of here. You're going to have CJ's list. We're going to talk about it together. And then I want to hear your list. You either come on the show or you leave me your comments. And you know I'm going to respond to as many as I can. And I love talking about this stuff. And I know you do too. But let's get a couple of the assumptions out of the way. First things first, folks. This is not about practical, reasonable transportation. No. What we're talking about here is the dude who's contemplating getting into the car guy hobby, getting into the automotive enthusiast hobby. Maybe for the first time. Or maybe looking to add another car to the stable. You know, there's a lot of options out there in that $10,000 to $15,000 sweet spot. We don't have to break the bank to get into this hobby. That's the wonderful thing about it. Options abound. And for that $10,000 to $15,000 budget, there's something for everybody. Okay, but what we're not going to talk about is reliable transportation. Go get groceries, pick the kids up. If those are your priorities and you need a vehicle for those priorities, you need to look elsewhere. Your buddy CJ will be the first one to tell you like it is. Get your priorities straight. But if you are here tonight because you're an automobile enthusiast and car lover like CJ, okay, then we got something to talk about. And if you're thinking about adding something to the stable or getting your first fun car, or maybe you and your son or you and your daughter are going to get into the hobby for the first time, we're going to talk about it. What are some viable options? 10 to 15K and you're in. You're in like Flint. So let's get after it. Folks, I'm going to jump right in here. And what I'm going to tell you is I'm going to start with 3 cars that on this topic, getting into the hobby for the automotive enthusiast in that $10 to $15,000 sweet spot, we have to talk about the Chevrolet Corvette. We have to talk about it. Listen, first things first. Chevrolet Corvette, nobody on their deathbed ever said, boy, I regret having a Chevrolet Corvette. This is an incredible car in any generation. You will never regret owning a Corvette. And I think for $10,000 to $15,000, we're talking about a 4th generation, a 5th generation Corvette, something in there. That's the sweet spot, really. They made 20 to 30,000 of these per year. There's a lot of them out there. They were mass-produced sports cars. 2 seats, there's convertibles, there's manuals available, there's automatics. There is something for everybody. You can get a wonderful cruiser, something, a driver, something, that's already, it's been pre-loved, but it was loved. And now you can love it and get a lot of life out of it. And there is nothing more fun. I don't know how else to say it. There is nothing more fun than getting in a Chevrolet Corvette, big V8 out front, 350 cubic inches of love and excitement. Okay, rear wheel drive. You want the wind in your hair? Get the drop top. Targa tops available. C4, that 80s iconic styling. Are you kidding me? C5, that's what we're looking at here. And, a car like this can be had for anywhere, probably on the higher end of that continuum, one that you'd want that hasn't been completely dogged. But look at that thing. When that C5 came out, I say it all the time. That car looked more like a Ferrari to those of us who were gearheads at the time than a Corvette. And it was so revolutionary and all the high tech was there. And it still stands up. It's got the pop-up headlights. So it's got a retro vibe. It's an older car. But you're in. Corvette guys will talk to you. Suddenly you're a Corvette enthusiast. You can join the Corvette club. You can go to the car meets and park with the Corvette dudes. Chevrolet Corvette, awesome buy. Now, if you need the back seat, that's another story. And again, we're not talking practicality tonight. Your buddy CJ told you this is the car guy, the gearheads list, automotive enthusiast list. By the way, gear up, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think about my new mic? Testing. Is this thing on? Yeah, she's working. I think it's pretty sharp, don't you? But let's keep going because this is too much fun. We're having too much fun on a Saturday night than should be permitted. That's what I think. All right, let's talk about it. Motherhood, apple pie, God bless America, and the Ford Mustang. Are you kidding me? What we're looking at here, I think that's around a 2001 Mustang GT with that modular engine, that 4.6 liter. They made hundreds of thousands of these cars. And it is about as much fun as you can have for 10K to 15K. There are plenty of these cars available in any color you could want. The GT trim is the one that you want as an automotive enthusiast, particularly from this era. You could argue that with the new ones. I know EcoBoost boys out there, but in this era, you wanted the GT. Cobra, of course, is out there, but I think you're going to be at a higher price point for one that you'd actually want. They made hundreds of thousands of these, folks, and you can have your pick. Some of them are ragged out, some of them are dogged. Let's be blunt. Okay, but you can find nice examples, nice survivors. Look at that thing. It's beautiful. You got the back seat. It's all Ford, all American. You can get your manual 5-speed transmission. You can go with the automatics. The automatics, in my opinion, weren't great in this era. But if that's what you want, if that's what you're looking for, you're just looking for something to cruise and be cool and head to the car show, you're in with this car. And the fabulous thing about this car, and I'll say it again, kind of like the Corvette, maintenance, I'm not going to tell you it's going to be a low-cost car, but it's a lower-cost car. Tons and tons of mechanics and resources and articles and blogs and parts available. You will not have a problem owning this car. It's a safe bet, and you're in. And again, you will enjoy the heck out of this car. It will bring a smile to your face every day. So Ford Mustang on my list. Looking to get into this hobby for 10 to 15,000, you got to consider the Mustang. Let's look at the other. I call these the big three. We got the Mustang, we got the Corvette. This is the other one. On this topic, folks, you got to consider the Camaro. I say it all the time. The Camaro is the arch nemesis. It's the sworn enemy of the Mustang. But look at that thing. This happens to be a third-generation Camaro from the 80s, Z28 trim, okay? You get that retro styling. You get the performance from that era. It's going to rumble. It's going to sound great, okay? It's not a performance monster. These cars will not set land speed records. They are not fast by today's standards, nor should you drive them fast. If you're running on 1987 metal and components there. You can get one that needs a bit of work. I had one with one of my kids, and we put exhaust on it. We had to troubleshoot a fast idle issue with it and a bunch of other things. And we had a blast, and we enjoyed the hobby together. Okay? You can do the same. Now, there's fourth generation Camaros as well. I claim that the Camaro lost a little something in the fourth gen. This was so iconic. There was so much passion and love for these third gens. You drive this car. Let me tell you something right now. You want to get into this hobby, right? You want something a little bit different. Go with a third gen Camaro. Anywhere you go in this car, you will elicit a reaction from people. People will lose their minds when they see this car and talk to you. I know, I've owned several of them. I've owned Mustangs, I've owned Corvettes, and I'm telling you, third gen Camaro, any car meet you go to the grocery store, some dude is going to be coming up to you, or some gal who had one in the 80s or the 90s or the early 2000s, and they got a Camaro story, bet. And it's a fun car, in all seriousness, and you love it, and it's easy to work on. Small block Chevy, baby. All fun. Now, guys, we just talked about what I'm referring to this evening as the big three. Corvette, Mustang, and Camaro will be your safety net to get into this hobby for 10 to 15,000. Let me get that out of the way because it's also really common and really predictable. I told you, Mustangs, they produced literally well over 100,000. I don't want to say every year, but most years. It's one of, if not the most common sports car in the US and always has been. Don't quote me on that. I'm not big on official statistics. How boring. But what I'm telling you, and you know it if you're an automotive enthusiast, the Mustang has been omnipresent for decades in this country. So the only reason I share that is because whether you go Mustang or you go Corvette or you go Camaro, you're going to be among the pack, which can be a really good feeling, and you can get comfort out of that. But then at the same time, you won't be standing out as completely differentiated. You want to stand out and be differentiated and really, prove your mettle as an automotive enthusiast, so to speak. Get one of these cars on your boy CJ's list. You ready? Because we about to go deep. I started out safe. We're taking the kid gloves off. Now we're going not so safe. Look at this. Are you kidding me? Porsche Boxster. These can be had and are plentiful for 10 to 15,000. Many of them have been well loved, but they've also been well cared for. Most Porsche people loved and cared for their cars and have records. These cars were built very well. I drove one of these. I drove my buddies a couple months ago, and it felt like a time warp. The car was literally 20 years old, and it felt fantastic. Thing was solid. Solid after 20 years. These are highly desirable. You want to set yourself apart from, okay, there's another Corvette, there's another Mustang, there's another Camaro. Boxster rolls in, you're a Porsche enthusiast. It's just different. I'm not saying it's better, but it is a different vibe. And you will fall in love with this car. Write it down. Take it to the bank. Your buddy CJ's telling you, you drive this car, you will fall in love with it. I'm telling you like it is. Leave me comments if you disagree. I'd love to talk to you about it. These are incredible cars. Now, there's things you got to look out for. There's a certain bearing in the engine in certain eras, and I should say in certain years, that if that's not replaced, it can be an issue. I think it gets overstated and overblown. I don't want to drill into the weeds here, but inquire about these things. Do your research. It is a German car and it is a Porsche. It's not going to be your cheapest out for maintenance. I know a lot of guys who work on these in this generation, and they work on them themselves. They literally work on these cars themselves. They've had them all apart. They've upgraded the bushings and the motor mounts. They've had, the intake. They do their oil changes. You can work on these yourself. You will enjoy the heck out of this car, and it drives like a Porsche, and it is a Porsche. But again, you're talking about a German car. It's going to generally probably be more expensive than a commensurate Mustang or Camaro, for example, to maintain. If something, knock on wood, goes wrong, and I hope it doesn't. Things to consider. Listen, your buddy CJ will never steer you wrong. Any car on my list is a car I would buy with the right research and the right example. And this is my list, but I want to hear about your list. Let's keep going. The list gets deeper. Since we're on the topic of German cars, check this out. Because I might surprise you with this one. But pardon me, do you happen to have any Grey Poupon? It's a Mercedes SL. I believe this is an SL 500. And these can be had, again, this one would probably be on the higher end, in the $10,000 to $15,000 range today. That was a $100,000 car, my friends. When that car was new, and I think that's like don't quote me here, Mercedes guys, I believe that's a 2001, something like that. I like the 95s. I like the 2001s. I like them all. I like the old ones from the 80s. But when these cars came out, they were 90,000, 100,000, 120,000. This was a well-off, rich automotive enthusiast car at one point. This car saw days at the country club. This car was cruising the California coast. Some big shot Hollywood executive was driving this car, and it can be yours. And let me tell you something, that's an automotive enthusiast car. That thing also, German engineering, it's built solid, solid as a rock. You drive that car, it's not going to be the driving experience that you get out of the Porsche. It's not. It will not drive like the Porsche. But are you kidding me? Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon cruiser, quick trip on a sunny day to the grocery store, and nobody is cooler than you. In a lot of these, we're well loved and well cared for. A nice one's going to cost you. Now, whoop, whoop, red flags. Whoop, whoop, warning. Your buddy CJ going to give it to you straight. Real talk. Real talk about the old Mercedes. These can be terribly expensive to maintain. I would say a strong word of caution. Young men, young women, this is probably not the car for you. If you're on a highly restricted budget, look elsewhere. You know, if you've got some bank and some resource and you're prepared for something catastrophic to go wrong, and I'm not hating on the Mercedes, I just know if some, you know, we spin a bearing or we got transmission or drive axle issues or something in the engine, electrical gremlins, something with the top, you're probably looking at 4 figures, maybe 5 figures. I mean, and then you're upside down in the car. Hello, scary. But again, you got to balance and weigh all that out. You got to get the spreadsheet out. CJ said, go to the spreadsheet, people. Get you a spreadsheet, write it down. Do your research. What can you afford? But if you can afford it and the numbers work, $10,000 to $15,000 price range, Mercedes SL, woo, you in the hobby. You are in the hobby. Okay, let's switch it up. Let's go to another area of Europe. Again, we're outside the comfort zone. We were in the comfort zone, warm and fuzzy, with the Corvette, the Mustang, and the Camaro. You in a safety net, but you're there with every other dude. In all seriousness, there's just thousands and thousands of those cars. And if you get into this hobby and you start going to events, there's nothing wrong with that. You could join the Mustang Club. You can join the Corvette Club. Bowtie boys, the Chevrolet boys that love you in that old vintage Camaro from the 80s, 90s, whatever, early 2000s. $10,000 to $15,000 is our budget. But there's going to be a lot of them in general. These cars that I'm showing you deep in this list, now that we're deep in this list, these cars are more pure enthusiast. They're a bit more rare. They're not for everybody, but that's what makes them cool. Your buddy CJ's not for everybody. And that's okay. That's okay. That's what makes it cool. That's what makes it different. Be different. I love it. Let's take a look at this, guys. All right, where is it? Where is it? Okay. You ready for this? Yeah, I went there. That's right, I went there. Fiat 500 Abarth. 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 It's a Fiat 500 Abarth edition. Now, one consideration is you got to fit in the thing. This is a small car. But in that $10,000 to $15,000 price range, you know, I haven't heard great things about these cars in terms of reliability. But again, we're not talking about daily transportation here. I'm talking about an automotive enthusiast car. You can daily these. I have friends who daily these. Okay, or similar cars from Fiat as well. But as an enthusiast looking to get in the hobby, again, that's a car everyone wants to talk about. What is it? Is that Italian? I didn't know they had those in the United States. These are the types of things people are going to talk to you about. What does Abarth mean? Look at the logo. Look at the mirrors. You don't have to go with an Abarth edition, but look at the styling cues and the sportiness of that car. And they sound great. They are legendary for sounding great for what it is. This is not a supercar. It's hardly a sports car. Sorry, Fiat guys, I'm just kidding. But in all seriousness, it's not a monster of performance. It's a fun little zippy car with some cool styling cues. And again, if you want to be really different, consider the Fiat 500. Not for everybody, though. So, all right, let's go into the list. And this will be, again, this car probably doesn't surprise a lot of you, but depending on what you're into, you know, wind in your hair, cruising around, look at this thing. BMW Z3. You could do a Z4. Z3, Z4. I don't claim to be a BMW expert, but I do know they made a lot of these cars. There's also M cars available. You might be able to snag an M, the higher performance model. It might be on the upper limit of that 10 to 15K. You might be pushing it and breaking the sound barrier there past 15K to get a nice M car. But look at this thing. I mean, it's again, as a cruiser, as something, you want to get into the Euro car market. You don't want to go broke doing it. You don't want to go spend 80 grand, 100 grand. You don't have to. Get this thing. Let's call it 15,000. Pick one of these up, a cherry example, Z3 or Z4. Lower miles, interior still in good condition. The top's there. The engines had regular maintenance done. Now, again, you're going to enjoy the heck out of it. Manual transmission, a lot of fun to be had. Whoop, whoop. We got to apply the warning alarm again. It's a BMW. It's a German car. It's a European car. Getting it fixed could be expensive. And you could find yourself upside down in this car. What does upside down mean? Let's say we spend $15,000 for this car, and I'm making these numbers up for argument's sake. These are not real world numbers necessarily, but it's an example because I love and care about each of you. So think about this. We spend $15,000 for the cool BMW Roadster, and the top breaks, and it's $3,000 to fix it. At the same time, we find out she's got a bad head gasket. Now I got 2 repairs, and let's say that's $1,800 to $2,200 to fix. Again, I'm making this up. But now we say we paid top of the market for it, maybe because it was a cherry example at $15,000. I got to do the top, the mechanisms, that's a couple grand. I got to do the head gasket, that's a couple grand. We are upside down in the car. Even if you print all that out and go to sell it, someone's probably not going to give you $19,000 for the car. Now it's a year or 2 older. You see where I'm going with this? You can lose your shirt on a car like this. However, if you do the numbers and you've got the disposable income, the DI, y'all know what DI is? Disposable income. If you've got the money to get into this hobby, do it, but don't do it by the skin of your teeth. Do it with some cushion. Do it the right way. And, I'm all about fiscal responsibility, but I'm like you. Your buddy CJ's a car guy, and I am passionate about it. I know you are too, but I want you to do well. I don't want you to lose your shirt. So these are things to consider. Do your homework. Make sure you can afford it before you get into the hobby. But if you are ready to get into the hobby, let's have some fun. Like and subscribe. Leave me some comments. Let me show you one more on my list. And I think this is also, I'll be honest, I think this is also a pretty much what I consider to be a safe get. You guys tell me if you agree. This is my list, but I'm always interested in what you guys think. Listen, Mazda Miata. You can go a lot of different directions with the Miata. I believe this is a 2014 with a pretty good trim package on it, a touring package. Again, this is probably towards the upper limit of that 15K budget, but solid. I don't know of a lot of catastrophe scenarios with people who've owned these cars. I know that most people who own these cars love them. Again, you can't be a 6'5", professional wrestler to tool around in one of these comfortably. But if you fit in it and you want that wind in your hair, that fun, zippy driving experience, you could look at one of these. You could look at doing a Porsche Boxster. To me, I kind of, not that I put them in the same bucket, but you almost have to consider both. And it becomes a matter of whether or not you want to get into that Porsche lifestyle. I say the Porsche lifestyle, that sounds bougie and that sounds funny. But what I mean is that is an area of this hobby. Like Porsche's life for some people. Porsche is, almost cult status. Once you're a Porsche dude, you're a Porsche dude for life. And that Porsche will ruin you because it's so darn good. They all are. The Mazda Miata, listen, similar but different. These were mass produced. These are at a lower price point. I don't believe they're as solid as a Porsche. Sorry to say that. They don't have the same cachet as the Porsche. The engine's up front in these as opposed to being out back, mid-engine in the Boxster or the Cayman. In this case, we're talking about the Boxster. Again, you're going to get a fun driving experience. When these came out originally, the first Miata, it was a significant car in the automotive industry because nobody was doing anything like that at that time in the United States, being imported into the United States. And people went nuts for these. They were paying over MSRP. Since that time, and this being a 2014 example, I believe, they've been mass produced. They've got a huge following. Again, 10 to 15K and you're in. You're in the hobby. And you got a car that's reliable, cost effective, and you can just have fun. And nobody's cooler than you driving around with the top down. So listen, guys, that's my list. Your buddy CJ. I told you, Saturday Night Fever. And we got the fever for cars around here. Hot Seat Automotive Podcast. I love you guys. Leave your comments. What do you think about my list? For a $10,000 to $15,000 budget, someone looking to get into this hobby or expand their fleet, so to speak, I think I gave you some great options. I gave you some safe options. I gave you some scary options, and everywhere in between. Guys, looking forward to seeing you on the next one. Have a wonderful evening, and if I haven't told you lately, I love you. Peace.